here we have our Where Do I Live category sorting activity for our language centers. This is going to focus on categories. And there are actually 2 activities within this center, but they can both be played the same way. So one is where we have 3 separate pages. One is I live on the farm, one is I live at the zoo, and one is I live in the ocean. And they are going to go with these larger cards that have animals with their names written on underneath them. And then there's also a smaller card, and this one also says I live on the farm, I live at the zoo, I live in the ocean. It's just on one page. And you can use these ones with the pictures that are quite a bit smaller, and they actually don't have the animals' names written on them. So how you can play this, I'll play with the larger cards just so you can see them a little bit better. You can start by reviewing these cards just to ensure that the student understands and is familiar with the vocabulary for this activity. It's not really fair to ask them to categorize if they're not sure what that item is. So I would just go through and say, okay, here we have see if they can identify what that item or animal is. Like this one, seaweed. Not all kids might know that one. We have rooster, turkey, starfish. And you're just going to go through all the cards. I'll just pull out a few here. And then what you're going to do, so once you know that they know that vocabulary, you're going to have the students, you can either turn them face down or have them pull them from a pile. Really, that's up to you. But you could have them flip those over. So then, okay, let's mix them up. They're going to flip over a card and name the card. Once again, just making sure they know that vocabulary. So, oh, here we have a starfish. So then you can see if they can just automatically identify, oh, a starfish lives in the ocean. Or you might have to prompt them a little bit. Do you think a starfish lives on a farm? Like, would we find one near Tabor? Or does a starfish live at the zoo? Or does a starfish live in the ocean? And they might need that choice. And sometimes there's going to be some animals that maybe could live at the zoo and they could live in the ocean. So you're going to help them sort of determine which is the best answer for that one. So for starfish, we're going to put it in ocean. I think that makes the most sense for a starfish. So then you're going to keep going through the cards. You can either go through and rotate with students, or if it's just one student you're working with, you can set a timer and say, okay, let's see how many we can do in 3 minutes, or whatever works for your time. They're going to keep flipping them over. So a dog. Does a dog live at the zoo, at the ocean, on a farm? And they're probably going to pick farm, right? So you keep going through and finding the cards that are the correct location for the animal. So like for instance, this bird, because you could have a bird on a farm, but I would say, let's look at this bird. This bird looks like one that would probably live at the zoo. And then you can help them through if they're unsure on some of the animals or if they've forgotten some of those vocabulary words. And if a student is incorrect, so say they had chosen like starfish belongs on the farm, just make sure you help correct that error and give them that information just so that we're helping to build that category knowledge before moving on to the next card or the next activity. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to your SLP.